on short videos because the algorithm sekarang ni mainly on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, they prioritize short videos lah. So it is the best way for you to grow your audience. One, because normally short videos they get pushed to non-followers.
Assalamualaikum, selamat datang ke podcast Richard Usahawan. Dalam sesi ni kita ada tetamu. Seperti biasa selalu kita buat podcast ada tetamu yang istimewa. Dan Alhamdulillah kita dapat teruskan kita punya program bersama masa universiti. Kita buat podcast ni di kawasan PJ di HBS Hanifah Business School, salah satu city campus di bawah masa universiti. So we are honoured to be able to do this podcast under this collaboration with masa universiti. And with me today, a very prominent figure, especially if you are on social media kan. Semua orang kat social media dia mesti kenal lah this figura that we are having conversation with. So welcome Mr. RK. I address you as RK lah today. Boleh RK?
Boleh.
Boleh
I claim royalty lah.
Boleh claim royalty because he has branded, he has successfully branded himself as RK. His company name is also RK Digital, and I think this is one of the things we want to talk about today lah.
Yes.
So welcome RK to the podcast today, Richard Usahawan.
Thank you, Coach. Pleasure to be here.
Tak payahlah panggil coach pula kan.
Okay lah.
Macam serius lah pula panggil coach kan. So maybe a little bit for our audience, I think you are known lah in the social media space, especially when it comes to creating content, storytelling. But I think, or I believe, a lot of people don't know your background. Your background. So maybe for the benefit of the audience, maybe tell them a little bit about where you were before you started this social media thing.
How long do you want me to go back?
How long?
20 years.
20 years. If we're gonna go back 20 years, maybe shortcut sikit lah. Shortcut sikit lah.
So anyway, very quickly, of course after actually I did my diploma here lah.
Okay.
My hometown actually from Sabah.
Okay.
From Sabah, so I studied my diploma here in KL, and then I was fortunate enough to get sponsorship by Mara. So I'm
Okay.
a Bumi Putra actually.
Alright.
Sabah. Spent 2.5 years in the UK after my graduation. So I studied electronics engineering, which is
Electronics,
totally different to
Okay,
what
very
I do
good, very
today.
good.
And then actually spent 10 years living and working in Beijing in China.
Okay.
So
Alright.
I developed my career there mainly in IT.
Okay.
And then the last 2 years when I was in China, I ventured into a side hustle, which became a very important knowledge that I acquired to gain knowledge to what I built today. So
Okay.
after that, I returned back to Malaysia in 2013.
Okay.
So I pernah kerja dengan Magic, right, which is the agency that looks after the tech ecosystem. Kerja dengan Cyberview. Cyberview is the company that looks after Cyberjaya. And which eventually I joined a tech company called Aerodyne. You know, Aerodyne is the Malaysian founded drone solutions provider. So I was there for almost 3 years before I decided to start my company today, back in June 2022.
Okay.
It's a social media agency where we help our customers grow.
Alright. Nice. So now you know a little bit about RK. So from electronics engineering to social media content creator. And that is what you are known for today. I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of the audience know. I had the quick session with the audience today, because today we have a live audience. So I asked them, what would be some questions they would want me to ask you, or they would want to ask you personally. And I wrote down several questions here. I think I'm going to start with their question first before I ask you maybe a bit more personal questions that I have specifically for you.
Okay.
First is, where do you get your ideas?
Okay.
You seem to have a lot of ideas. Every day I see you, I also sometimes cannot catch up. Banyaknya ideanya, mana dia dapat. And so maybe you can share, what would be your source of inspiration or idea.
Okay, boleh. Actually, if you think about life in general, and if you are curious and if you are observant enough, you can actually get a lot of ideas from around you. Especially katakanlah if you're coming here today to this center, even during your journey, if you start to observe things around you, you'll get a lot of ideas. You'll get a lot of inspiration. You'll observe how do people behave. Semua tu actually can become ideas. Of course, that is part of it. Tapi, as you know, I spend a lot of time on social media. It is my job and it is what I do right? So I basically browse through all the social media channels, mainly on X, of course Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. So I scout for possible content that I can create. And then normally, if you think about this another perspective of life, sometimes you'll get ideas out of the blue. So you have to really, really fast to capture those ideas. So prepare your phone, ada notes app, just write it down. Whether it's going to be useful or not, that's another story. Just put it down. So that's what I do. My phone notes app memang dah meletup. I put a lot of content. I just write down. So there comes a time when you think about, okay, maybe this is a good content. Since I already collected this bunch of ideas, I can turn them into a proper content that might be useful to my audience. Basically, that's it. And as you know, I like to make things simple, right? If you look at my content, I make my content very simple. So the same thing.
I noticed the recent one, you writing on your notepad, screenshot of your notepad, right?
Yes.
But it's black. So that means you're doing it at night. Or can you actually turn it to dark mode?
Dark mode.
Tak ada dark mode. I think the notes only appear, it becomes black at night.
That's if you set the settings.
Set the settings. I was thinking, why is it black? I'm thinking because my note, I didn't touch the settings, but it becomes black at night. During the day it's white. So it might be the setting. But I'm thinking maybe he's writing at night. So rajin juga RK. Malam-malam dia ada reflection session before he goes to sleep.
But that's actually one of them actually. Before I go to bed, I will reflect. I will reflect, okay, what went well today? What didn't go so well? How can I create better content tomorrow.
Yeah. So
Quite a
that
bit
is actually
lah.
in one of your postings I read,
Yes.
to actually reflect on the day, right?
Betul?
As RK shares tadi, so that answers the question lah, how to get ideas.
Betul.
I think it's one thing to observe, but it's also to be able to capture those ideas.
Yes,
Kan?
betul.
Because I find I have this I mean it's not I wouldn't say it's a habit lah, but sometimes I get up in the middle of the night, I have this some crazy ideas or some thoughts. So I actually have a small notebook at the side of the bed for me to actually write down.
Yes. That's the way
Because
lah.
if not, I struggle. You know, I will remember that I have this thought I couldn't really pin it down.
Age is catching up lah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for rubbing that in. Thank you, brother, for rubbing that in. Yes, so it's being observant, but also being able to capture those ideas, right? Capture those ideas,
Yes.
And from there you can expand it. So that is one, getting ideas. So another one that came from the audience was now we see a lot of videos. A lot of people do videos and all that. And the question for you is that we see you doing video also nowadays. So how do you actually do the videos? Do you pre-plan them? Do you do it in batches? You know, maybe you can share with us some practical strategies, especially for those who wants to get started using videos to create content.
I think for context, why do we want to focus on short videos? Because the algorithms currently mainly on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, they prioritize short videos lah. So it is the best way for you to grow your audience if you want, because normally short videos they get pushed to non-followers. So people yang memang have no idea who you are, no idea what are you going to talk about. So that's why we focus on short videos, so that it gets pushed to people who have not seen your brand lah. Okay. So that's why for me, a lot of my content that I have wrote lah, basically the storytelling, and it's a matter of converting those static posts or written posts into video content. So that is why my practice is, most of the time, I will write on, because the idea comes from my note app first lah, kan? And then I'm going to start writing, post them on X. X. So X is a great writing platform. Because it tests to me, it's going to test your creativity lah, because imagine each thread, you can only put maximum 280 characters. So you have to squeeze your brain lah to make that writing or write up as compact as possible, but has the biggest impact. Okay. So once I have those writing, that my script to my video. So at one point in time, back in 2022 lah, when I was still trying to grow my channel here, so I researched a lot of stories about Malaysian stories, success stories. So I pushed out on my account lah, Twitter account. So whichever content yang perform very well, I turn them into video. Very simple. So whatever I've written, I just So again, I want to encourage siapa-siapa yang new into creating videos, please do not overthink. Just, you already have your phones in your pocket, take it out, buy a cheap tripod, mount it, just record yourself. That's it. So that's what it is. That was the early days. Of course, nowadays, I'm trying to be more selective of my content. Of course, lately, there's a lot of because I always try to advocate purposeful and meaningful content creation. So out there, of course, we have the big boys lah, Yang, those examples, right? So I take them as my potential content angle and tell stories about them, and then basically create a video lah out of it. That's the process. I always like to make things simple. I avoid complication, high edit production, because nowadays people want authenticity. The more authentic your content is, the less editing, it performs better.
Performs better.
Performs better.
Based on your data lah.
Based on data, based on my observation lah.
Okay, alright, very good. So hopefully that gives our audience some ideas in terms of how to actually do videos. So do you actually batch them up, or do you do everything at one go, or do you just follow the flow as you are comfortable and all that? I mean, for you now, maybe for us to get started, maybe it's just being able to do as many videos as possible in a day. But as an agency, do you have a specific process that you actually follow?
Actually, for my specific business, we do batch for our clients lah.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing, the same approach that we do for our clients. We do basically, we plan the content, we strategize with them, and we do batch creation lah. Because I think that would help optimize our operations.
Okay.
But for my side, because I do writing and video at the same time, so whichever time that I feel this is probably a good trend to lecture on, then we create a video.
Okay.
Otherwise, just go with the flow lah. Actually, to be honest, that's why I said the first 100 content is the most important.
Okay.
Because that will basically develop your mental resilience.
Okay.
Right? To be able to overcome the challenges, the feeling of demotivated. Actually, to be honest, even my first ever content one, it's also like 1 or 2 likes, and that's like my close friends. You have to go through the process.
Okay.
Right? You have to go through the process. So that's why doesn't matter whether you have 1 like or 100 likes or 1,000 likes, just do it. You don't have to overthink, because you have to go through this process to make it that. Dia macam exercise lah, right?
Yeah.
For example, you go to the gym. Takkan lah, the first day you're at the gym, you're going to expect all your bicep to kan? No. You have to go through the process. And then eventually, then you feel, this is better. It builds your confidence slowly. Then you will get better over time. I can guarantee that. Your first 100 content, if you can go through that process, you can be better after that. Then things going to make it easier.
And I think this is also the challenge. Nowadays, we see a lot of coaches, gurus, sifus out there, and they say, come to this class, you'll be able to do so and so and so, and I think there is, I wouldn't say misrepresentation. But I do feel that the context is not built properly, such that people have the wrong idea. People have a wrong impression that they come to a 2-day class, they go out of it expect to become like you. So expect to become like, and they get demotivated is one thing. But then they also leave remarks like, those classes are useless lah. I'm not talking about myself, although I do face some resistance as well. So what would be your perspective on those kind of situations? How do we give a better perspective on those kind of things?
I think I would say great things take time. Great things take time.
Banyak quote bagus yang you all boleh pakai.
Normally, how I look at it lah. As you create content, there'll be ups and downs lah. Some content they'll be performing really good, some probably not. But as long as you being consistent, you just do what you can, being consistent, you will see ups and downs. Tapi when you feel demotivated, then you have to sort of like zoom out. Then you like zoom out. Then you say, hey, I'm actually progressing. I'm actually going up. But in a very small incremental lah.
Okay.
Tapi at the end of the day, as long as you progress, something will happen eventually. Normally what I would say is, dia macam ni tau, like this is the graph, right? So there'll be nothing happens for a very long time, and then suddenly everything happens all at once. Which I feel this is the phase that I am currently right now lah. So there's a lot of nothing happens for a very long time. Tapi also depends. Some people maybe they created content that is so new, so fresh, they can just suddenly. Tapi as I said, great things take time.
Yeah.
You might go viral suddenly during this period, tapi is it sustainable? Kan? So if you can build that over time, I think the rewards at the end is really worth it.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's very important. I feel following the right accounts are very important, because as you know, we have a lot of content creators out there. Some are good, some are not so good, I feel. Tapi at the end of the day, it's, as I said, as you said just now, kan, the education part is actually very important, because that will set the foundation of everything. If the foundation is not strong, you cannot sustain. Seriously. So you have to build that strong foundation first, and then to keep going, to build on something. So you can think about life is like it's like a big jigsaw puzzle, right? So you need all these different pieces together to create something great. Tapi if you're missing certain parts, then you won't be able to see the big picture lah. Sorry, very philosophical.
Very philosophical. So you like philosophy, yeah?
I don't like.
Oh, you don't.
I don't like. But as you read more content, right, because then a lot of the things on your mind they connect dots. So it becomes something that I can also create.
Okay.
That is, people have not probably talked about before.
Okay.
So I think that's why I said the foundation must be strong. If the foundation, you don't have that foundation, it's very hard for you to sustain.
Okay. Do you read? Do you read a lot? Do you get a lot of ideas from books or reading?
I buy quite a lot of books, but I don't read them.
Oh, you don't
They're
read them?
like most people lah. They just put at the rack.
So what you are trying to build a bookshelf to
Yes,
become
it's already
a book,
there. It's already there.
to be your backdrop lah.
Yeah, backdrop.
Not silly reading it lah.
But of course, I have some of my favorite books.
Okay.
Some of my favorite books.
Maybe 3 favorite books that maybe has given you a lot of inspiration or ideas for our audience. Are there?
One book is called Start With Why.
Start with Why. Okay.
Simon Sinek. Right?
Okay.
Simon Sinek. Again, Start With Why addresses the importance of having a strong foundation. So if you haven't followed Simon Sinek, just check out his content. He speaks a lot about leadership, about entrepreneurship, business, which is very important. If you run a business, you need to know. Then there's another book called by Naval. It's the Almanac of Naval Ravikant.
Yeah,
that's a great book because it's very easy to read. You can finish within one day.
Okay,
and that becomes my reference to many things that I do. So sometimes when you run a business and then you just go back to, hey, now it makes sense.
Okay.
Sometimes when you read the book 2 years ago, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
But now when you read it makes sense.
Okay.
That's the second book. Third book, I can't think of the book for now, but I remember I read a book, $100 Startup.
$100 startup. Yeah.
I read that one more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
So the pun that sets the foundation to what I do today.
Alright. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Some I do feel I was not a reader lah, not so much a reader lah. When during my study time and all that, I picked up reading later in life because I had to do research. Okay. During my working days and all that. So masa tu susah lah nak buat research. Internet not like today, you know. So but it gave me a lot of advantage, and I thought, so a lot of people don't quite know about all these things because they just don't read, because it's all there.
Yeah.
You know, and I find that also is something that is helpful for me today to actually create content. So there's a lot of ideas that can be extracted lah. So 2 of my reference would be reading book whenever I feel like I don't want to create content and all that, and watching Netflix lah.
Bagus.
Because I think Netflix also has when I look at you, for example, the way you do storytelling and all that, I can somehow relate that when I watch Netflix. Kan? So I think for me, I'm not here to recommend that you binge watch lah, kan? But I think great movies, especially, they can somehow give you a lot of inspiration.
Yes, I totally agree. Just like recently there's a crazy story that I want to share lah. So I was watching this movie called The Pursuit of Happiness by Will Smith.
Yes.
Anyone watched it? Pursuit of Happiness?
Watched it, eh?
No, yeah. So of course it's one of Will Smith's best movies lah. I feel lah. Thank you. So I just over the weekend I just felt that I want to watch it. Okay lah, just watched, and of course it felt inspirational because I already run my own business today. And then okay lah, let's create a story out of it. Let's create a content out of this. So for me, said I make it easy, right? And I also do writing. So what I did was I just the background of that movie lah.
Correct.
And then I just shared what did I learn from that movie.
Yeah.
So when I shared it, of course, I think on Facebook so far it has been shared almost 4,000 times.
Wow.
Not just in Malaysia, but actually literally different parts of the world. So even my audience is not actually local. They're mixed lah. Malaysian and regional, and so that went viral. And so okay lah. Well, that's good. Anyway, so a couple of weeks ago, I was traveling to Cebu. So on my flight back to KL, I was seated at my seat, and then one seat away from me was this guy. So he was watching Pursuit of Happiness on his phone lah. So dia letak dia phone dekat back of the seat. So I was, oh, this is interesting. So masa they were serving the food, said, hey, that's an interesting movie. Said, what made you decide to watch that? Oh, I saw this Facebook post. They said, and this guy said, Richard Ker. Hey, that's me. So I was surprised. So I said, whoa, okay, what a coincidence. So we talked lah. So found out that this guy, he runs a center like somewhere in Malacca for special needs. So that's why I think content creation, you don't overthink. The moment you overthink, then you don't want to post it, and then you worry about so many things, then it doesn't go anywhere. So just put it out there, because you never know who's going to look at it, who's going to watch it. And that is not the crazy part yet. Seriously. So when I posted the same story on my LinkedIn, so somebody commented, said, oh, actually, about the Pursuit of Happiness story lah, kan? So that person commented, he said, Allah, this is just makeup story. This is just over dramatized lah, kan? Surprisingly, the guy, the real guy, because it was inspired from a true story. The guy, his name is Chris Gardner. Chris Gardner. What is the most shocking part is Chris Gardner saw the post and he commented.
Oh, really?
He commented on that post, on my post. And then he said, it is not that easy. It is hard. And then, by the way, Richard, if you're coming to Chicago, please contact me.
Wow.
I was shocked.
Seriously.
I made a screenshot lah, just in case. He deleted. But it's there.
Alright.
Yes.
I'll definitely be looking at that particular post, going through and see. I think these are the kind of things that is unexpected, right? And I think the focus is, if you want to create a good content to create impact, it does not matter how big the impact is. It might be impacting a lot of people. It might be impacting that one person that makes a difference, right? And I think that should be the spirit lah.
Yes.
So the guy on the aeroplane didn't actually recognize you initially.
Oh, actually, he said, hey. Then as we were talking I said, hey, actually, before we took off, I actually took out my Facebook. I was like, just to make sure that it's you lah. But he wasn't too sure. He wasn't too sure.
Alright.
So we made friends, and now that's how it is.
Yeah.
And you're right about whether it's for 100 people who are impacted or 1 people. When you create a content, this is my point of view, one perspective. Always write for 1 person.
Okay.
Yeah. If it impacts 1 person, that's already good.
Yeah.
Then you never know, because in the end, humans are actually different, but they are very similar in many ways. And so if 1 person is impacted, there's a chance that there'll be a 2nd person, 3rd person.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to the earlier thing about building resilience and going through this process of doing it.
Yes.
And be conscious about it lah, you know, and not worry so much the initial traction that you get, you know, because as you build this impact, it can go very far, right?
Betul.
I mean, even for those of you who don't really know the story behind me and RK, we have not met. We have not met. I mean, I think we met a couple of times. Cyberview, Cyberjaya one time.
Yes.
But we actually connected on social first.
Yes.
We had conversation, all that, and you referred me to a program, right? You
Yes,
referred
betul.
me to a session, a speaking session with Petronas.
Yes.
You know,
Betul.
and I thought, you know, initially I didn't quite believe it lah. Macam RK ni macam pulling my leg or something kan. Dia minta profile, dia tanya whether I was free. And these are the kind of things that we really don't know, right?
Yes. Betul.
I mean, a social connection can actually turn into a lot of other things.
Yes.
You know,
Opens doors lah.
opportunities, opens doors and all that. So, for fellow, you know, content creators or want to be content creators, I think RK today has proven lah, you know, that you can create a lot of things. You can impact. You can have a bigger impact.
Yep.
You know, nowadays with media. And we just don't know the kind of opportunities that will open up for
Betul.
us. So I think going through that process of resilience. So Farah, if you're out there watching, don't give up. Continue creating content. I think same with me lah. You know,
Betul.
mula-mula dulu kan macam 1 like, 2 like kan. Sekarang orang tengok macam, oh you boleh lah, you terror. Sekarang you should see me 5 years ago. You know, it was a different story.
Betul.
So that graph is correct lah.
Yes.
You know, no views, nothing. And then suddenly, you know,
Yes.
And the challenge with people is that they only see the results today.
Yes.
They don't see what you have had to go through,
Betul.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just see the questions. One thing that the audience asks, and I'm sure you get more of this lah as compared to me. You get a lot more traction kan? Engagement, especially negative ones. You did share just now with regard to the Richard Garner, and it was nice of him to actually jump in and explain. But how do you handle negative comments?
Okay. Normally when you get negative comments, those are the posts that actually went viral lah.
Okay.
Because when a content goes viral, right, then everybody gets to see it. All the random person who probably have no idea who you are, they will just go and they will just comment based on their current perception at that point in time.
Okay.
So they have no idea who you are. They just, you know, like that's why they call it negative comment, right? So for me, I get that quite a lot, actually. Especially a few of my video content that went quite viral also quite recently. So random people just came in and they probably do not understand the whole context of what I do lah. And they will say, one of them is saying, oh, this guy, probably make assumption lah, oh, this guy is trying to sell course, is it?
Okay.
Oh, this guy is trying to jual radio. Those kind of things lah. So those kind of comments, right, if it doesn't bring value to the conversation, just ignore it. Just, otherwise it will affect your mental health.
Do you delete them or
No,
do you
no,
just
I
leave
just
it there?
leave it lah. I just leave it. And what's the great thing about that, right? Because I've already built a community. My community would help protect, or they will help basically counter lah those negative comments. Okay lah. So I'm very thankful for that. Yeah. So I think again, if it doesn't bring value to the conversation, I think you just ignore it.
But I think in a way, negative comments is a sign that you're there lah.
Okay.
That you have achieved certain level, because that means a lot of people see your content,
Yes.
right?
Random people,
If you don't get negative comments, there's still a lot of work to do lah.
but of course, some of the comments can be constructive. Right?
Yeah. Correct.
So if as I said, like if it brings value to the conversation, just reply.
Correct.
Thank you for your feedback.
Yes.
I will try to improve the way I create my content, the way I deliver whatever I write. That's why the understanding the context, having a point of view, empathy, those are very important things.
Okay, so I have this is a personal question for me lah. So I have seen a few times. I mean, even if you talk about the movie, the recent Pursuit of Happiness, I have done a video of maybe the top 10 movies for entrepreneurs, and I have also seen you do it.
Yes.
And I've also seen other people do it and all that. So in a way, I sometimes feel, tak nak lah buat macam ni, nanti nampak sangat macam RTA punya content. So what are your thoughts? Because sometimes I do see people copying. It's not really copying, but in a way you could see that ada some resemblance lah, ada some resemblance. So it feels to me sometimes macam tak nak lah buat content macam ni, nampak macam copy sangat. So I want to stay true ataupun stay original. What be your perspective on that? Especially when new lah. Especially when new, we tend to look at other people for inspiration. And there is a tendency that dia lebih kurang macam sama. What would be your thoughts on that? Is it a good thing, or is it what can we do otherwise?
Okay. I think there is no wrong to take inspiration from others, right? Because as you try to build your content, you pun kadang-kadang tak ada idea lah kan, but you just have to think, how can I emulate people? Emulate, and then from there you try to navigate lah on what you think works best for your audience. Because at the end of the day, everyone in this room, I feel everyone can be a content creator because everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own skills, experience, upbringing, identity, personality. And those itself, you can become the thought leader in your own space. In your own space. You have to think big. In social media, it is not about talking about 3 million people, Malaysia. You're talking about global citizens. The world population is like 8 billion. 8 billion, is it? No?
Yeah. 8 billion,
Yeah. Think about from that perspective.
Yeah.
So meaning, don't worry about trying to emulate somebody, because you never know. As I said, your content might resonate with a community that who are actually looking for you. Right? Your community is out there.
Yeah.
So do not worry.
The world is waiting for you, waiting to discover you.
Waiting, to discover you. To discover.
So,
yeah.
So I hope you guys like this kind of content, all that. I know it is a little bit of a swing from the normal conversations that we have. Normal conversations we have, we talk about entrepreneurship and all that. But I think nowadays also doing business or you being an entrepreneurship also requires media, right?
Yes.
It also requires social media to help you bring your content forward, bring your product and services forward, because it's a busy world out there. So for aspiring business owners, maybe they look at content creation ni as something macam I don't need to I don't need social media lah. I've got my business, I've got product and services. What would be your perspective, or what would you say to to them? Is it worth spending time on social media now?
Okay. So this goes back to when I said about the start with why. The purpose has to be there. If you have a bigger purpose, you will understand why this is.
Okay.
So imagine if you are running a multi-million ringgit business. Katakan you're the founder. You said, I don't want to be in front lah. I just want to focus on my business. But if you are generous enough, you feel you are generous enough, right? You're gonna think about, okay, if I can build my business up until today, creating a multi-million business, I should share how I do it, so that I can inspire the next generation of audiences, young people, so that they can also start. And that is actually more meaningful. So it is not just about you. It is not about yourself anymore. It is about how can you inspire people so they can also start something. They can also create something. I think if everybody's thinking that way, I think we can be a very positive. Because you're going to drive the economy, you're going to drive the country, you're going to drive the country in so many levels. Imagine academicians sharing their knowledge, sharing their stories, and their perspectives of things on social media space. Eventually, if all the good things happening on social media, and if you're looking at this from a global perspective, that's when we can transcend humanity to the next level. And it's a very powerful thing that most people have not really taken advantage.
Wow, I think that's
Yes.
something big lah. Looking at that perspective of being generous, even bigger than what your business is about. And I think hopefully a lot of entrepreneurs look at this. I mean, be able to reflect on that. And I think it's a big deal.
It is.
If you shift that perspective
Betul.
of being generous and being able to
Yes.
help the future generation. Because like the challenge I mentioned earlier, our youngsters don't want to continue studying and all that. But there was once, I was talking to this lady, and she shared with me, this ex-pilot. He's already I think retired. He talks about his experience, written content, his experience being a pilot and all that. It somewhat inspires people to continue studying to become a pilot.
Yes.
And I think these are the kind of content that is probably missing.
Yes.
The inspiring educational content and all that,
Yes.
such that it will inspire the younger generation.
Betul.
Because we can't blame them, because their medium of reference now is social media, right?
Betul.
I mean, they probably don't read newspaper anymore.
Yeah. I think the moment they were born, they already have device in front of them.
They already. So the default is the device,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So if we don't create content for them with that intention, I think we cannot blame them.
Yeah.
Cannot blame them if they choose
Sure.
not to actually pursue better education
Exactly.
or better careers and all that. So I guess I'm in a way with you lah. And that's also what we've been trying to, me and Kay lah, doing this program, trying to put across. Yes, our channel is not an entertainment channel.
Betul.
We don't expect the content to go viral and all
Yes.
that. But I think if we stick to our purpose, it would touch the people and
The
it will
relevant
create
people,
impact
yes. Betul.
over time.
Yes.
So we cannot compare lah. We cannot
Yeah.
compare the standing of this channel compared to other channel yang maybe a bit more entertainment.
Yes.
Kan?
I mean, at the end of the day, people they still want to be entertained in some ways, right? But still, as I said, you have to think big, right? Your community is out there, and not everyone is purely looking for entertainment. Yeah, they will also look for things like this. How can they improve themselves? Self-improvement kind of talk, business related.
Okay, so hopefully that continues to motivate the team. Okay, if you're watching. So that I think in a way gives us some inspiration to continue doing the work that we're doing. It's hard lah. Okay,
It's
creating
hard.
content is not as easy as it seems lah.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's worth it lah. I mean, once you see the results, once you see the outcome, it's mind blowing lah. I can say it's mind blowing because
So what about fun? Do you actually enjoy creating content? Do you actually have fun creating content, or is it
To me-
more for the bigger purpose that
Of course it
becomes a responsibility?
of course it leads to a bigger purpose lah. But of course, in my early days when I started to create content, you don't actually look at this lah at all. You just say, okay, how can I create something? How can I bring value to potential audience? We were looking at that angle lah. But as you progress, as you build something, as you grow in your business, then you feel, at least for me lah, I need to have a bigger purpose, right? How can I impact others also at the same time? How can I bring value to this world before I leave? Right? We should leave something for the world lah. At least, I think in any religion they also advocate that, right? I think in Islam also.
Correct.
So I think it's quite important. So once you can give something and somebody can take that from whatever you have created and create something more meaningful, as I said, eventually that's how you progress lah as humanity.
So because of that, it kind of like now becomes a very big purpose lah. A very big goal. Does it take away the fun side of creating content?
No,
I mean, for
it's
you,
not. It's still fun because
Still fun,
for me, when my content performs quite well, I get a lot of engagement. So everybody comments in the comment section. Then I actually spend the time to respond each one as much as possible.
that's the thing I tell my wife lah. That's the pain of being of creating content. You got to reply to all these comments and all that, right?
Because the thing is, it will help to build relationships. Right? then people will perceive you, okay, so he pays attention to my comment.
Yeah.
So I think that's really good.
Yeah.
That's how it should be like. Of course, that the algorithm loves it lah.
Yeah.
Because you're encouraging people to stay on the app. Kan?
Yeah.
So they will reward you more to give you better exposure to audiences.
Yeah. I think that's I think that's missing. That point of having fun is missing with a lot of creators out there. I'm not sure. But I tell a lot of people, if you're not having fun, then you're not doing it right. Because I think at the end of the day, you also need to have fun. Because if not, there's no motivation for us to continue creating content. Yes.
So that is why this is what I would normally advocate people. When you create content on social media, right? Or social media basically, just focus on creating. Make it simple.
Yeah.
Focus on creating content that is educational and inspirational, secondly, and thirdly, entertaining, which most content creators out there mostly that goes viral is only create entertaining content lah. But you can combine. You can create educational and also entertaining. So normally I touch these three things lah. Most of my content I feel they are educational and inspirational, and sometimes I just create memes lah. Contohnya
that
macam
element of entertainment a bit
entertainment lah. So memes very simple. It can contohnya 2 days ago they launched the new iPhone, right? So I pick a photo of this old guy wearing red shirt, yeah. So and then at the same time he was holding another same red shirt. So I just put iPhone 15, iPhone 15. So basically the same lah, right? So those kind of memes lah. So even my audience nampak pun okay lah. This guy is not always serious. It's not always about trying to educate. It's also fun at the same time. So you have to throw in the personality, who you are. That's actually very important. That's what makes you do that.
Okay, very nice. I think we're almost coming to the end of our conversation today. So what are some plans for you moving forward? We're coming to Q4 2024. Soon, very fast 2025 will be appearing already. So what will be some of your plans moving forward into the future? Bigger agency or what?
Oh, okay. I don't share this a lot yet, but of course, I think if you just talk about what's going to happen throughout the rest of the year is just to grow this company lah. Grow as in get more clients lah, right? So for me, then I see a correlation with growing my clients. It has a correlation with the amount of content that I'm putting. So the more followers growth, the more content with engagement and reach, it will generate more lead opportunities lah. So that is the BAU lah, the business as usual. But what I feel can be a bigger purpose from what I do today is not a social media. I'm actually in the process of putting things together to build RK Academy for entrepreneurs and creators. Because I feel there's a need that we need to create creators lah, for example, with meaning and purpose. And we don't have anything at the moment. Katakan like any of the audience, anyone has kids here? Kids, kan?
Ada.
Some of the kids they say, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a YouTuber. But where can they go? I mean, they can create content, but how can you educate them to create meaningful and purposeful content that can impact people? I think that is more. I feel that is more purposeful. So I'm looking at that. Of course, I'm trying to piece it together. How can we build this physical academy so people can just go to learn something, create content, have access to all this different equipment, have their own podcast session.
Very interesting. So that's the RKA lah. RKA Academy,
yes.
So that will be something.
That's the goal lah. That's the goal. At least for the
planning towards lah. Interesting. we will have a separate conversation
Yes,
on
for
that
sure,
on
for
that for sure.
We actually
Because
we
yeah,
want expert.
yeah,
because
we did. I actually did an event space.
Mm.
This was prior to COVID lah.
Yes. Understand.
We did something similar, not
Mm.
exactly the same.
Yep.
But it didn't take off because of COVID and all
Yep.
that. But I do see the need.
Yes.
I do see the need of creating something like that. So that the future generation can actually
Mm.
have better resource
Betul.
as compared to
Betul.
us, for example.
Yep.
So I wish you all the best on that project.
Thank you,
Maybe we'll have a, if you're interested,
PM tepi lah.
PM tepi lah. So we'll be putting RK's details below the description of the podcast. So feel free to connect with RK and find out and explore, because we just never know. Yeah. Final words to our audience, RK?
Don't overthink, start creating.
Don't overthink, start creating. So that's a quote that you can put, if you create content and maybe put a meme of both of us speaking at the podcast. Okay, so with that, we're going to end the session. So thank you very much again. Terima kasih kerana mengikuti podcast Richard Susawan. InsyaAllah kita akan bawa lagi figura-figura hebat di kalangan usahawan-usahawan kita. And thank you very much for supporting us. Hopefully over time we'll get also more comments lah in our YouTube punya channel ni.
All the best.
So thank you very much again, and I'll speak to you at the next event. Thank you, Arti.
Thank you.